Testing, testing. Testing, testing. All right. Shalom, shalom, shalom. We're going to turn to face the east towards Jerusalem, and we're going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right. Shalom to the elect, those that are fighting to enduring to the end, and that are calling on the true names of the Father in the name of the only begotten Son, which are Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father, which means in the Paleo Hebrew, He is. And the only begotten Son name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahushai, which means He is our salvation. And those are the names of who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus. All right. Now, as you can see by the title, it is when they shall fill their belly. It says what? When He is about to fill His belly. All right. We're going to talk about it. Okay. When He is about to fill His belly, the Lord is going to come down with great wrath. All right. Now, what prompts this is that we see what's going on in the quote unquote Middle East with the tensions rising over this Strait of Hormuz being open, being closed, and everything else in between. Because why? It's heavily distributed throughout the global economy, which accounts for about 20% of the world's oil. All right. Now the conflict is that in negotiations, Iran, Israel, and America came to pass that. So America says that they will come to some type of ceasefire for 10 days. All right. In the midst of the ceasefire, they claim that Israel, the state of Israel, bombed Lebanon, and now all talks are off the table. Well, this seems to be the narrative going back to the end of March or the end of February when this whole thing started. All right. You have all these ultimatums given by who? President Donald J. Trump. All right. First, it was a 2-day. Then it was you got to the end of this day. Then it's to the end of this day. All right. Well, it's all a point to not just devalue the dollar, but to put Donald J. Trump cronies into better position for when they bring forth the New World Order. Okay, because why? They're getting rid of a lot of assets of America, man. A lot of assets of America is being translated. All right, such as what we just saw. You know, although we didn't see it, it was publicized, but it's just hitting the mainstream media news that France has just removed all of its gold, 129 tons, albeit electronically, out of the New York Federal Reserve. Okay, so we're seeing the rounds go around that America is getting ready to do what? Devalue the dollar. All right, which is why Trump can continue to make these outlandish statements and go back and renege on everything that he said he was going to do at the last second to what? Manipulate the stocks. All right, and that's exactly what we're seeing taking place. All right, Trump and his cronies, which you know what? Let's look up that word crony. All right, let's see what crony means. Crony. It says a crony is a close friend, buddy, or long-term companion. See? And this is pretty much what Trump is doing. Okay? On top of that, he's getting pressure from the state of Israel to further push their narrative, because they're trying to push and get a greater Israel. All right? So they need all that land over there. So they're going to have to bomb and try to take Lebanon and everything else, you know, besides Iran, because why? They're trying to expand their territory to try to fit the prophecies of the Bible. All right? So Trump and his cronies, his friends, his buddies, his pals, his companions, they working on one side, and then you got the state of Israel that's got their foot or their hand in the cookie jar per se, and they want their crack at it. All right? But make no mistake about it. Both of them are Edomites, all right? Both of them are Edomites, and when they think their belly is just about to get full, meaning what? When they think their plan is going to come to a head where they're going to get it done, the Lord is going to abruptly interrupt it, all right? So although they're manipulating the stock, although they think they're putting themselves in position to get a greater Israel and what have you, it's all according to the will of the Heavenly Father, right? So let's open up with that in the book of Job, chapter 20, and let's start at verse 4. This is the book of Job, chapter 20, and verse 4. It reads, knowest thou not that, it says, Job 20 and verse 4, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth? So we're hearing about since man was placed upon earth, because as the precept was put on, Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So the earth is given throughout different times and different periods of its existence to other unfit rulers, all right? And now we're in the most unfit ruler of them all, Esau Edom, so-called self-proclaimed white man. So it says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphant of the wicked is short. See, each rulership has had its time to reign, albeit short in comparison to what? The kingdom, all right? The eternal kingdom. Because why? Once the Israelites are in rulership, we're going to rule for eternity in righteousness, okay? But we have to go through this last wicked rulership ran by Esau Edom, the so-called white man, because here it is. You can Google, America is pretty much the #1 producer in oil, but yet to have profits for these corporations, they have to do what? They have to raise the price of oil, because why? The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Now here it is. This is the #1 nation that produce oil, light sweet oil to be exact, which is used in machinery like cars, airplanes, so on and so forth. All right. So they could easily lower a barrel of oil to where it's more reasonable for us at the pump. But then guess what? It wouldn't benefit them, because why? They're all about their bottom line. Okay. They're all about making a profit at who? The expense of the consumer. See? So this is why you're paying higher prices at the pumps, okay? Because they're trying to compete against other, companies and countries that's pricing their oil. All right. So it says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphant of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. See? So they're only ruling for a moment. All right? They don't have eternal kingdom. All right? This is why they can be so proud in their stance. This is why they can talk all this BS, okay? Because they understand that they're in power, they're in rulership. All right? This is why Trump can make these statements like he's going to bomb them back into the Stone Ages, all right? Which is pretty much an act of genocide, all right? That's a declare of war, okay? So this is why they can act so bold and proud, because they understand that they're in rulership right now. But see, these other nations, they're getting fed up with them, all right? They're getting fed up with America, all right? Which is why Iran is now accepting payments in what? Crypto, okay? Iran is now accepting payments in crypto, all right? Or at least that's one of the talking points, all right? In order for you to pass through the strait, you can now pay us in crypto, because why? You can't affect crypto like you can cash, the American dollar, USD. See, they're looking to move away and off of the USD, the US dollar, the petrodollar, all right, and move into something more, decentralized, okay? But little they know, the bankers are funding this thing to happen, to take it into all-out war, all right? Because why? They're getting ready to crash the dollar here in America soon, all right? And they're going to bring in what? A digital dollar, a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, all right? So make no mistake about it. They're only going to get but so far, all right? That's why the lesson is when he is about to fill his belly, all right? ... The Lord is going to come in with that great wrath. So it says, Job 9 and verse 5, that the triumphant of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. See? So Trump may think he's doing something, He may think he's doing something. He may even get a what looks to be deal to get the ceasefire back in place, just for it to get even worse, okay? Because we saw how much the people were up at hand over paying $4 for a gallon of gas nationwide. So what happened? The ceasefire came into place. A barrel of oil went up under $100. Gas dropped down a few cents, and now the people are back at business as usual. See, it's only when stuff affects you that you see the need to make your voice heard. All right. But when it doesn't affect your everyday goings, long as you think you can go to the movies or out to eat and nothing's going to happen, you don't care, man. You don't care. See, so when this happens, it's going to catch you by surprise. It's going to catch you off guard. It's going to take you by surprise. All right. And these elites know that. All right. These elites know that. These central bankers, they know that. They know when they finally get ready to pull the plug, you people are going to be out having a good time, enjoying yourself. As it says, in the days of Noah, so should they be when the Son of Man comes. Out partying, drinking, marrying, having a good time. And then they knew not until Noah entered into the ark. It's going to be the same way this time. See? You people are going to be out having a good time, living it up, living your best life, as they say, and you ain't going to know what happened. Just like the people of old, when they first felt that raindrop come out of the sky and hit them on the face, they was taken by surprise. Well, guess what? When these elites, these central bankers, finally pull the plug on this place, however that may be, and catch you off guard and take you by surprise, you're going to know what happened. But it's going to be too late, see? But the Lord has allowed it to happen, because why? He's allowed them to get their belly to a certain extent, but not fully complete. Because why? He's going to interrupt, okay? That's going to get into it. He's going to interrupt. So it says, verse 6, Job 20 and verse 6, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds. See? And that's exactly the mindset, okay? That's exactly the mindset. His head reached to the clouds, all right? You ever heard of saying he got a big head? Well, Esau Edom got the biggest head, man. All right? Even to the point where he thinks he's the most high. All right, let's read that. Isaiah 14 and verse 12. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14. And we're going to start at verse 12. This is Isaiah 14 and 12. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? And Lucifer just goes into the morning star. Because you got some Christians that'll tell you Lucifer is Satan. Lucifer is a Latin word. It just means morning star. You got the morning star on the left side and you got it on the right side. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? See? It says, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. What else? It says, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. See? And this is Esau Edom's MO. He tries to be like the Most High, but he wants to up the Most High. He wants to set his stars above the throne of the Most High. All right? Which is why he gives you this bullshit ass narrative that he just sent Artemis 2 to circle around the moon. All right? Even in 2026, he's still using that same old 1960, nonsense of going to the moon. All right? Well, that was the beginning of his downfall. All right? When that pride exceeded his wickedness. Okay? And that's hard to do, but Esau pride is up there, man. All right? Which is why we're finna read in this verse. It says, Isaiah 14 and 13, for thou hast said in thy heart, which is your mind, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Verse 14, pay very close attention. This is the point. It says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. See? And that's Esau Edom, the so-called white man's MO. He thinks he's going to be like the Most High by implementing this microchip to control everyone on earth. All right? Which is why we're seeing the events that's taking place over there in Iran, particularly in the Strait of Hormuz, because they're setting the stage to dethrone the dollar, usher in a new form of currency, backed by what? Nothing. Okay? Backed by what? Cryptocurrency. They're saying they're going to try to peg it with treasuries, but nevertheless, it's still going to be something that's phantom. Meaning what? You can't hold it. You can't control it. All right? And more so, the ultimate form of it is going to be when they give you that device the size of a grain of rice and tell you, in order for you to buy and sell, you have to put it inside your body. All right? And make no mistake about it. All the countries are on board with pushing this agenda. Okay? All of them. From Iran to China to Russia, we know America, all of them are on board to push that RFID microchip. See, the only thing about it is that they think once America fall, that they got dibs at who's next, okay? Which is why when Yahweh Shai returns, they're going to all turn their attention from fighting each other and fight against the Lord, all right? And that's where they're going to make their biggest mistake. That's when the Lord is going to make light work of them, all right? So it says, Isaiah 14 and verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. See, this is what's going to happen, right? he's going to go up. The Lord's going to bring him down, and then he's going into the hells of the pit. He's going to go into those bunkers. He's going to be preserved, and then what? He's going to be carted off into slavery. All right? These elites, they're going to be the first crop of slaves in the kingdom. All right? So they're only going to go into these bunkers, these doomsday bunkers, to preserve them from when the missiles come, so they can be the first ones to get their continuous unemployment assignments. Okay? They're going to have jobs. They're not going to have to worry about standing in the unemployment line, filling out paperwork. They're going to have continual employment. All right. So it says, verse 15, Isaiah 14 and 15. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Verse 16, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? See, that's what they're going to see. All right. The Lord is allowing them to see that right now. All right. Through who? This current president, Donald J. Trump. All right. Because they got an acronym that stands for Trump always chicken out, which is TACO. All right. So they're not really fearing America like they once did, although America is at its peak. All right. With all this military technology, they should be shaking in their boots, man. They should have caved in to the first ultimatum when Trump gave them the 48 hours. But they don't see America as they once did, because why? As it says in the book of Joel, it says, let the weak say that I am strong, man. All right. They got rival technology that could hold that, coupled with other nations, can hold us on against this military might, America. All right. So they no longer worried about America like they once were back in the 80s and 90s. All right. When America was really looked at it as that hammer of the earth. All right. Now it's looked at it as the hammer of the earth, but through his commander in chief, they don't really take him serious. All right. Which is why he's going to have to do something. All right. And then that's that chess move that they're going to draw everybody in. So that's what we're waiting on. We wait on that. We wait on that major catastrophe to happen, where they could bring forth the mark of the beast, get everybody microchipped, and then let the missiles fly. All right, and that's to the extent the fathers that they're going to get. They're not going to fulfill their whole enterprise. They're not going to fill their whole belly. All right, that's why the lesson is, what is it? When he is about to fill his belly. Meaning what? Just when he about to get everything off the ground that he thought he was going to get, it's going to all come crumbling down. That's said the Lord, man. All right. So let's jump back to Job 20 and verse, what was that? Job 20 and verse 6. This is the book of Job, chapter 20 and verse 6. It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, right? We just read Isaiah 14 and 14. All right. It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens and his head reach unto the clouds, it says, yet, verse 7, he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? See, is this the man? Where is he? Like Mystical say, the man right here. All right, well, when this damn thing happened, when the Lord take him out, they're going to say, where is he? All right, is this the man? All right, let's read that again. This is Job chapter 20 and verse 7. This is Job 20 and verse 7. It says, Job 20 and 7, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? See, and that's the sentiment. Okay, where is he? I thought he was the hammer of the earth. I thought he was this great military might. Well, when Yahweh Shai returns, they're going to see. All right. And that's why all knees are going to bow. All right. They're going to see. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 16. This is Isaiah 14 and 16. It reads, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man, see, that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? So they already starting to see this, man. Because why? This man Trump is chickening out on everything that he says, man. He got to push the button. He just got to let it happen. Now he's saying that, although it could be taken out of context, that this place needs to be resetted. You can look at that from two different ways, all right? I'm looking at it that he's saying that he's looking to reset the whole economy through the act that he's doing now. Others may say that he's just talking about his deeds, his actions, but he doesn't strike me as one that's concerned about what he does, man. All right, if he did, he would have been pulled out of this so-called skirmish, this conflict, this beginning of war. All right, he's too proud. All right, he's too locked in. All right, so it's more likely that he's saying that he's talking about resetting this whole world order. All right, because now his wife all of a sudden is coming out and saying that she didn't have any ties with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, why? Because they got dirt on him, man. They got dirt on him. They're walking him into the narrative, into the path that they want him to. All right. And if he tries to even think about getting thought outside of what they're telling him to, they're gonna do worse than what they did to John F. Kennedy. See, back in the 60s, they just put a bullet in John F. Kennedy's head. But if he don't play alone, they're gonna do worse than that. They're gonna release those Epstein files, man, on all those cronies, on all his friends that he's manipulating the market for. And when it comes out, it's gonna shock the whole world. That's why it says in the book of Luke, chapter 8 and 17, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad, man. All the deeds of these wicked ass Edomites, they gonna come out to the light, man. Right? One way or another, they're gonna be exposed. All right. And the mere fact that his wife is trying to get ahead of whatever narrative is being allegedly pushed out about her by this other woman, she's trying to say that she didn't have anything to do with Epstein, which is a bald-faced lie, because she's seen taking pictures all day with him and the other lady that's accusing her, allegedly. All right. And then on top of that, she's trying to insinuate, or she's saying outright, that she met her husband Trump naturally, that it was a stage. All right. That's more BS, man. All right. That's more BS. Okay. So the narrative is out, man. This place is cooked. It's finished. All right. That's why it says they should say, is this the man that made kingdoms to tremble? What happened? The Lord showed up. All right. Woke up the elect. Now this truth is coming out four corners of the earth, and they can't hide anymore. They can't hide anymore. So let's read that again. This is Isaiah 14 and verse 16. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. See? So this is the sentiment that's being said and spoken of right now, but it's going to even speak louder as these prophecies unfold. All right? As it says in Jeremiah 49 and verse 10, I have made Esau bare. Everyone is seeing this devil for who he is, man. All right? Everyone. Okay? He can't hide behind Christianity anymore because we know he's not the people of the Bible. He can't hide behind being, the people of the land because we know he don't fear prophecy. The Lord is exposing Esau. He's making him bare. Let's read that. Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 10. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 10. Because he's being made bare, all right? Which is why his kingdom is crumbling, all right? Which is why his belly won't be filled, which is why his belly will not be filled to the extent that he's going to get everything that he wants to be taken care of before Yahushua returns. So this is Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 10. It reads, Jeremiah 49 and 10. It says, but I have made Esau bare. Esau is the so-called self-proclaimed white man, all right, the Caucasian. I have uncovered his secret places, and he, Esau, shall not be able to hide himself. See, he can't hide himself anymore, especially behind religion. All right, for the longest, he had people believing that this was a God-fearing country, man. Now we see this country doesn't fear God, yet alone believe in the Most High. The pride and ego of this place, man. All right, which is why the Lord got to take it down. All right, America has to be completely destroyed. See, other places they're going to be able to be built back up, but not America. America has an overkill of barrage of missiles that's coming to annihilate this place. Thus saith the Lord. Revelation 18 and 6. Double her. All right, this place is getting double. She's going to have to drink that cup twice as much. All right, for all the atrocities that they have did against the children of Israel, the Lord got America prepared to drink that cup double. All right. So it says Jeremiah 49 and verse 10, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he, Esau, shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. See? So it's a wrap, man. His brothers, his neighbors, all of these Edomites, they're finished, man. All right? They can't hide. All right? We know America, the Edomites here in America, they don't believe in who they call Jesus. We know the Edomites over there in the Holy Land, they don't belong to the Holy Land because they're not the biblical Israelites, all right? So his brothers, his neighbors, all of his kin, his family, everyone is being found out, all right? The Lord is making them bare, okay? So he can't hide, he can't escape from judgment, all right? And he's going to be utterly destroyed pursuant to Obadiah 1 and 18, all right? That's his final, his ultimate judgment is Obadiah 1 and 18, which has not come to pass yet, all right? No matter what these theologians say, Esau, Edom, is still here, and he hasn't been completely wiped off the face of the earth, all right? That's Obadiah 1 and 18, all right? So back to Isaiah 14 and 18, or 17, it says that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. See? And these are all characteristics of Esau. Wherever he goes, he destroys, man. Cities, countries, everything. That's how you know who Esau Edom is, man. He goes to outer space, he destroys it. He goes to the sea, he destroys it. All right? There's no place he goes that he doesn't destroy, that he doesn't leave a path of destruction behind, man. That's why he's unfit to rule. So the Lord isn't going to allow him to fill his belly, man. All right? As we're going to read. So it says, Job, where we at? 20 and verse 7. This is Job 20 and 7. Yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? Right. Where is that same God that destroys cities and towns and, everything else in between, that wouldn't let the prisoners out? Where is he at? Where's that proudful man at? Where's that ego at? See? And they're saying it now because why? They don't fear this dude, man. All right? Trump doesn't have it. Trump is more strategically for planning out real estate and buildings of that magnitude. He isn't really war savvy like that. All right. Now, can he call a bluff? He may be able to bluff him to a certain extent, but that's only going to go so far. So they say, we call your bluff. Show us what you got. See? And then he's either going to have to put up or shut up, man. All right. And we know that pride isn't going to allow him to just walk away with his tail tucked between his legs. He's going to do something more dramatic and drastic, and then all hell's going to break loose, all right? So we just got to continue to sit back and be patient and wait, all right? And let the Lord do what he do, okay? So let's go back and read Job 20 and verse 8. This is Job 20 and verse 8. It reads, he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. See? So ultimately, he's going to be put out of sight, man. You know that old saying, out of sight, out of mind? That's going to be Esau in the kingdom, man. All right? After his 1,000 years are up, he's going to be taken off the face of this earth. Pursuant to Obadiah 1 and 18. Let's read that. All right? This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, and verse 18. This is Esau, Edom's ultimate judgment. One of the shortest books, but yet powerful books in the Holy Bible. Obadiah, (1 and 18). This is Obadiah 1 and 18. It reads, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh have spoken." See? So that's ultimately Esau's judgment, is that there's going to be no more of him. All right? He's going to be completely decimated and taken off the face of this earth, never to be remembered or heard of anymore. That's why Job 20 in verse 8 says what? It says, he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. Verse 9, the eye also which saw him shall see him no more. All right, and that's going to be a beautiful thing, to not to see these damn Edomites anymore, man. To wake up, go about your day, don't have to be reminded of this damn Edomite, and the world could finally flourish in righteousness, all right? Because under this current wicked rulership, it isn't flourishing, man. Trees are growing up out of concrete grounds. The pavement is all off. You got plastic in your food. All of this under this current rulership of Esau, Edom. That's why it was posted, Job 9 and 24. The earth is given unto the hand of the wicked, man. All right, Esau, Edom. Okay. So it says, Job 20 and 9. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. His children shall seek to please the poor. Right. See, they're going to serve us in hardcore slavery, man. All right. Because why? They are their forefathers coming back every third and fourth generation. So all they say, that wasn't me, that was my ancestors. Well, little do you know, those are your same people coming back every fourth generation or so. So guess what? You're gonna have to serve in king. You're gonna have to serve in slavery just like we did. Let's read that. Revelation 13 and 11. Okay. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, which is the last book of the Bible. Revelation to reveal 13 and 11. All right. This is Revelation 13 and 11. It says, no, it's not Revelation 13 and 11. Revelation 13 and verse 9. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword, what must happen? He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints, which are the Israelites, all right? So just as we had to go into slavery and against our own will, guess what? They're going into slavery and against their own will. That's why it says prepare slaughter, all right? See, once you get a strong understanding of this Holy Bible, you see exactly what it's for, all right? It's a discernment of the truth, all right? You say you love who you call God, well, you should love his word, man. And his word isn't peaches and candy, all right? You got to take everything into it, all right? Or else don't take nothing at all. That's why it says, I would rather you be hot or cold. But because you are lukewarm, I'm going to spew you out. So if you got a soft spot for Esau because you don't want to see him go into slavery, you don't want to see him get judged, then just put the Bible down completely, all right? Because you don't understand the word of the Heavenly Father, all right? He got to pay for what he did, all right? That's called just. And the Lord is a just God, all right? He's not unjust. He doesn't have a false balance, all right? Like you so-called Christians do. Because you want to call on that fake-ass Jesus that says God loves the whole world. So under that notion, Esau should be able to be forgiven for his sins. That's BS, man. The Bible doesn't say that. There's no way you can back that up. So let's go back to Job. Let's go back to Job 20 and verse 10. It says, his children shall seek to please the poor. They're going to serve us in slavery, man. All right, who are the poor? The Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, alongside the speckled birds. So his children, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, his children are going to look to serve the poor. And what? Slavery, all right? So it says, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. See? They're going to restore everything that they did, all right? And then some, all right? That's called balance. That's called justice, all right? The Lord isn't unjust where he's just going to let these Edomites and the other nations as well ride off into the sunset after having a hand in touching his apple of his eye. No, they got to pay for their price. They got to pay for their consequences, all right? And that's all of them are going into slavery. Every last nation here on earth, all 17 of them are going into slavery. It's just Esau, Edom is going to be exterminated after his 1,000 years are up, right? So it says, Job 20 and 10, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. Let's read that in Isaiah 14 in verse 21. This is Isaiah 14 in verse 21. It reads, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they, the Edomites, do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the whole of the world with cities. See? Nor fill the face of the world with cities. So they're going to be completely annihilated. All right. After they go into slavery, they're going to be no more Edomites. All right. They can't rise up again if they're not in. If they're not in existence, they cannot rise up again. All right. And the Lord's going to make sure that He's going to prepare slaughter. All right. They're going to all be completely wiped off the face of the earth. Right. When He is about to fill His belly, He's going to be thrown down to the pits of hell, man. Slavery, and eventually He's going to be completely wiped off the face of this earth. All right. So it says, sounds so good. Let's read it. Let's read it again. Isaiah 14:21. Prepare slaughter for His children, for the iniquity of their fathers. See, you are your forefather. All right. That's why you don't understand reincarnation, because you don't understand you come back every third and fourth generation. So Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is still here on the earth today. All right. It says, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Okay. So he can't escape His judgment. All right. He cannot escape His judgment. All right. He's not going to fill His belly, because if He had it up to Him, He'll have all of us chipped with the microchip. We'll be working endlessly, tracked, monitor, everything else, all under this new world order. That would be their sole mission, to have everyone tracked, monitored, and working for them, pretty much at their disposal. Okay? Because you'll never be able to get ahead anymore. All right? And that's what they wanted at, where you will own nothing and like it. All right? Eat your bugs, live in your cubicle house, get your UBI and be happy. Okay? Be happy. That ain't gonna be fulfilled. All right? You're only gonna get so far. All right? And then the Lord's gonna show up and destroy everything. So it says, Job 20 and verse 10. It says, His children shall seek to please the poor, and His hands shall restore their goods. Verse 11. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. See? And that's all he's composed of, man. He is the wicked. All right? He's the wicked. From head to toe. That's all he's comprised of, is wickedness, is sin. All right? He can't get right. The Lord didn't make him to be upright. All right? The Lord made him to be what? Crooked. He's that serpent in the garden. All right? So you're going against the Lord's will by trying to uphold that which He has made crooked. As it says, who can be made straight that was made crooked? No one. So if the Lord made you to be crooked, there's nothing you can do to straighten yourself out. Okay? Because it's not within your makeup, your bones, your DNA. Let's read that again. Job 20 and verse 11. His bones are full of the sins of his youth. It's just in him since a youth. All right? Since a youth. As it says in Romans 9, the children having not done yet anything, but for the will of the Most High to be fulfilled, the elder shall serve the younger. Esau came out first. And pursuant to prophecy, he's going to serve the younger, who is Jacob, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? After this kingdom is taken down, we rule next, and Esau is going to be under our feet. He's going to be serving us in slavery and in captivity. And if you don't like that, hey, take it up with the Most High. Right? So it says, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Verse 12. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue. See? So it's sweet to him. All right? He loves wicked. He loves lying. That's why it says he loves being deceptive. That's why it says his words were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. See, Iran is figuring out and finding out the hard way that you can't trust this devil, man. Here it is, they talking about negotiations and getting ready to come to the table, and what happened? They bombed them, all right? You cannot trust this devil, man, all right? It says what? Job 20 in verse 12. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue. It says, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. See? Never trust thy enemy, man. This devil can never do right, all right? He's always got some type of ulterior motive, man. See, and the Lord's using them just for that, all right? Just to rile things up, man. See, we coming to find out and realize that this devil is just that. He is the devil, the false accuser, the deceiver, all right? If he tell you something, you can almost bet with certainty that it's completely the opposite. He's now been telling us that he's going to pull out of the war. We know, according to biblical prophecy, he ain't coming out of this war. Because why? We understand that it's all going down in the valley of Jehoshaphat, over there in the so-called Middle East, all right? So by all means, the Lord is bringing everyone into that region because why? The end is near, okay? The end is near, see? So this devil is telling you something, but his actions aren't matching what he's telling you. We're going to pull out this war. Okay, completely believe that. Gas prices are going to go down, but he can never give you an exact date because they're not going to go down, okay? They're going to fluctuate. $4, $3.90, $4.50, $3.60, $5.50, $4. This devil gonna play games with you, man. All right? He's gonna play games with you because why? It's in his bones since his youth. It's in his makeup to speak lies, to be wicked. All right? And those that know will what? Flee from him. All right? And those that don't want to take heed and flee from him, well, guess what? As it says in 1 Peter 5 and 8, he's just going to devour you, man. All right? You're going to end up in a line somewhere down at one of these government facilities, standing outside, getting ready to be chipped. All right? Because why? You believe the lie. You believe this devil. You believe he had your best interest at heart. All the while he was playing you for a fool, man. He played you like a fiddle. And the prophets, they've been telling you these things. Never trust thy enemy. No matter how sweet talk he gives you, no matter how much he promised you, it's all a lie. Right? And we can't wait to say we told you so. All right? When you take that chip, including our family members, we can't wait to say I told you so. Because why? We're telling you everything you should be taking heed to now, but you turning your nose up at it because why? It ain't coming from someone in a suit. It ain't coming from someone that you deem established, a theologian. All right, we didn't go to seminary school, so you don't look at us as authoritative of this word. You look at us as less than. All right, but guess what? Your pastors, your so-called preachers, they ain't telling you these things. They ain't getting you ready in the spirit. All right? They leading you astray. Okay? Because why? They've been compromised too. So it says, Job 20 and verse 12. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth, yet his meat and his bowels is turned. It is the gall of asps within him. He hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. See? Everything he got, these riches, these everything. What comes with riches? Countries, everything that he got ill-gotten, he gonna have to what? Vomit it up, man. Let's read that again. Job 20 and verse 15. He hath swallowed down riches, and he, Esau, shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. See? All these riches that he got on the backs of the Israelites. All right? All of these. All right? He got them by what? Deceit, lies, and the sword. Okay? That was the main thing. He got it by the sword, because if you didn't bow down to his religion, he would what? He would behead you. All right? Just look what happened to the Native Americans here when the Spaniards came. All right? They set them up through their first winter, and what happened? In return, they gave them a blanket full of smallpox, man. That's why you can't trust this devil, man. That's why he got to go down, see? So let's read that again. This is Job 20 and verse 15. He hath swallowed down riches, and he, Esau Edom, shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. See? He don't have a neck to keep these riches down. Every time he's going to try to come up, the Lord is going to make him vomit it up. All right? He can't get his enterprise but to so far. That's why he's never been to the moon, despite all the BS. They've never been to the moon. That's a lie. They've never been down to the deepest depths of the sea, which they claim to be the Marianas Trenches. They've never been there. That's a lie. Everything is being exposed to this devil, man. All right? His lies. It's up. The gig is up. Esau, we know who you are. We know who we are. We know the prophecies. We know what to expect. So you can't fool the elect. All right? That's why it says, for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. All right? Those days shall be shortened for the elect's sake, unless there should no flesh be saved. See? So the Lord got to shorten these days, man. Call Haloyim Yahweh Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. He is shortening these days, or else this devil will fill his belly, man. See? That's why we read in the beginning, every kingdom has had a short triumphant. And this kingdom isn't no different from the ones before. All right, so the Lord is getting ready to bring this empire to an end. All right, and just in time. Okay, just in time. All right, the Lord is always on time. All right, you just got to have faith and believe, man. Even in the Christian church, they said he's an on-time God. All right, the Lord is always on time. He makes good on his prophecies. We just got to stand, we just got to hold fast. All right? So it says, Job 20 and verse 16, he shall suck the poison of asp, the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. That which he labored, verse 18, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. See? Everything that he's been laboring for since his inception, he ain't going to swallow it down, man. Just think. When America came into existence in 1776, they had in their idea this very exact moment that we're currently in. The so-called quote-unquote founding fathers that were masonries or wizards, witchcraft, they had this very exact moment when they put America into a business or a corporation and established it in 1776, July 4th. All right. But now they thought they would see their enterprise come to a fulfill or to be fulfilled. But guess what? They're not going to be able to swallow it. The Lord is going to make them vomit it up, man. All right. He's going to hit them with a gut check. Bah. The Lord going to come and hit them with a gut check. God. Hit them with an uppercut and they're going to vomit it all up, man. See, they eating good right now. Especially Trump and his cronies, man. They eating good. They don't know, we don't know who they are. We know some of them may be lobbyists. Some of them may be in higher places. Some of them are getting their money out of the stock market. Some of them are making hands over fists. All right? But those are low-level Edomites compared to these trillionaires like the Rockefellers and individuals with wealth exceeding trillions. All right? The Lord's going to hit them with an uppercut and hit them in the gut. And they're going to vomit up all their riches, man. But just in general, Esau, Edom, overall, is going to vomit up everything that he got on the back of the Israelites. All right? Everything that he made, everything that he got, because America's going to be destroyed, man. Everything that he got on the back of the Israelites, the Lord's going to hit him with that gut shot and make him vomit it up, man. America's going to be destroyed, man. All your businesses, your corporations, everything, all right? They're going to be destroyed in that third war. So it says, Job 20:18, that which he labored for shall he restore and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. See? That's going to be his restitution according to his substance. And Esau has acquired a lot of substance. All right. So guess what? He's going to have a lot of restitution to pay back. That's why he got a whole 1,000 years. A whole 1,000 years to pay back in slavery. And we're going to make good on him, man. We're going to make good on that restitution, Esau. All right? Don't think you're just going to ride off into the sunset, you know, get the Strait of Hormuz open, get your oil, because we know you don't want the oil back down, man. We know you don't want the oil back down to a reasonable price. We know you want to only make it higher. We know you want to make the consumer believe that you're doing your best to get these oil prices down, because why? It's way more than just oil. All right? We're not stupid. That's why it says 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We know this thing is way more than just about the Strait of Hormuz oil. We know it's about a global economy and you bringing in the mark of the beast. We know it. See, these lames, the mass, they believe it's just about the gas prices at the pump. No, it's way more than just about the gas prices at the pump. It's about the trillions of dollars in debt that you've accumulated over time. See, this has all been working up to this moment. This has led all the way up into this moment that we're currently in. You planted this since the beginning of your inception, going back to the founding fathers of this wicked ass kingdom, man. Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Andrew Jackson. I don't know all four of them. George Washington. It goes back to when they founded this land on stolen property, man. All right. What does it say? We're going to read it. Habakkuk 2:12. All right. It goes back to that. It goes back farther than just this oil, man. It's just a component in the overall grand scheme of things. All right. It's all been culminating together to come to this boiling point that we're at now. All right. So we know you're not letting off. All right. You can tell that to the masses, to the lames, and anyone else that believes it, but you're not going to fool the elect. We know in no way, shape, or form are you letting off that gas, man. Because the Lord is putting it on you. He's putting on your spirit to move in the direction that you're moving into. All right. And that's what? To implement that mark spoken of in Revelation 13, verse 16 on down. All right. So we know you're not letting up off that gas. Okay. You can deceive the mass, but you cannot deceive the elect. So Job 20 in verse 18 says, that which he labored for shall he restore and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. Verse 19, Job 20 and 19, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he built not. See, that's Esau M.O. Violently. All right. He don't get off unless he does something violently. All right. That's why it says in Habakkuk 2 and 12, let's read that. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 12. This is Habakkuk 2 and 12. It reads, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood. How did America come into existence? Through blood. All right. Look at the Trail of Tears, man. Look what they did to the Native Americans. All right. How was America established? Through blood. So it says Habakkuk 2 and 12. Woe to him or destruction to him that buildeth a town with blood. That's how Esau Edom built up his kingdom, through blood. So guess what? That's how he's going to go out, through blood. Look what he did. Look what he did in Hiroshima with Little Man and Fat Boy. How many Japanese were annihilated with that bomb? That's how he establishes a town with blood. See, because why? He's a vagabond. All right, he's a fugitive. He doesn't have a place to rest. So he has to what? Come and take over towns, countries, cities, via by the way of blood. See, and if you don't get down, for the longest he had his military to come in and take it over just like that. See? So it says Habakkuk 2 and 12, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity, man. How did he establish this country? Through iniquity. Sin upon sin. That's why it says, as is the king, so are his servants, man. It don't get more wickeder than Babylon the Great. That's why it says in Revelation 18, its sins has reached the heavens, man. Because why? It was established on iniquity. Over the decades and years and centuries, this place has only exceeded in more wickedness, and to the point that we are now currently in. That's what? It getting ready to be judged. Babylon the Great. How is it falling? Babylon is falling, because the Lord is taking it down, man. All right? Make no mistake about it. The Lord is taking this place out. Right? So Job 20 and 19 says what? Because he have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he have violently taken away an house which he built not. America was already discovered. Despite the lies that they tell you Christopher Columbus discovered America, America was already discovered way before Christopher Columbus came here. All right? So it says what? It says he built not. He didn't build this place. This place was already built. Now he built it and took it to the level, to the extreme, to where we now see is a complete wickedness. So he did establish that. But as far as in righteousness, no, because he can't get right. Remember, his mouth, his tongue is nothing but lies. So it says Job 20 and verse 20. It says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desires. See? So he's feeling the pressure, the squeeze of this truth. Make no mistake about it. Prior to this great awakening, Esau was sleeping at night easy. Now that this great awakening has taken place, he don't get no sleep, man. These elites are constantly in contact with each other. Hey, we got to get these things moving, man. Yahweh Shai is coming back. All right? We know prophecy. We see all these Israelites waking up. They seeing who we are and who they are. And more importantly, who the names of their gods are. Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai. So they see us. That's why it says fear fell upon them. All right? This great awakening is forcing them to make moves that they normally wouldn't make this hastily. Because why? They have but a short time. See? Their end is but up. So it says, Job 20 and 20. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. Job 20, 21. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore should no man look for his goods. See? Once America's taken down, that's it. Ain't no good old days. We in that process right now. All you MAGAs, make America great again, ain't no more meat left in this place, man. Ain't no more meat. It's over with. Them days of eating prime rib and all that back then in the 90s and the early 2000s and the 80s and 70s and 60s, eating good, having good jobs, you know, being able to afford for your family, having low rent, affordable gas, all them days is over, man. All that eating good, them days over, man. The meat is through. This place is finished. Let's read that again. That's a good precept. Job 20 and 21. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore should no man look for his goods. See? America through, man. All right? Other countries are going to look elsewhere to trade in other currencies. All right? Outside of the dollar. They already looking to trade in the yuan, to trade oil. They don't want the petrodollar anymore. The petrodollar is losing its value, its potency. All right? With this move that's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, it's showing that we can navigate around the petrodollar. We no longer need it. It's obsolete. All right? No matter what this damn guy tries to do and say, it's a wrap, man. It's finished. All right? The meat, the goods of this place is over. The rivers, the brooks, they're about to dry up. All right? They're about to dry up. Okay? That's I believe that's Isaiah 19. Let's see if we can get that. Isaiah 19. This is Isaiah 19 And we're going to start at verse 7. Isaiah 19:7. It says, the paper reads by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks shall wither. See, all these ports, up and down the East Coast and West Coast that allows exports from other countries to come in. All right, because although America is one of the number one top producers in oil, it still export other goods from other places, and some of it being crude oil, man. See? So it's going to be only a matter of time before these brooks, these rivers dry up. And guess what? Ain't going to be no more moving coming. Ain't going to be no more shaking and moving here in Babylon the Great, man. All right? Because why? They ain't going to be sending out oil like they once did. Because why? People aren't looking to pay for oil in the petrodollar anymore. They're looking to move on past that. So what is America going to do with all that oil? You think they're going to pass it off to you, the consumer? Here it is, they got billions of barrels of oil, but instead of dropping the price down to $60 or $70 a barrel, they want to keep it up with $100 to be competitive and pass it on to you, the consumer, where you got to pay $4 a gallon of gas, man. See? That's complete and utter wickedness, all right? So soon these brooks are going to be dried up. They're going to have to do what they got to do, and you're going to feel it even more in your pocket then, all right? See, they're going to set the stage for where they're going to bring in what's the be brought in, that mark of the beast. You're going to take it willingly, gladly. Why? Because you ain't going to be able to afford nothing. Shit's going to get expensive out here, real expensive. Bills are going to be expensive. Your gas, your lights, your water, everything that's surrounded by energy is getting ready to go through the roof. Because why? Who they going to sell this oil to, man? These other countries, they don't want to deal with the petrodollar anymore. All right, they're looking to move on past that. So guess what? You, the consumer here in America, is going to have to eat it, man. All right, they got too much oil. They're not going to be thoughtful and mindful and do what? Allow you to get a discount or break at the gas pump. No, man. These damn Edomites, these damn devils, they too selfish, man. They rather charge you $10 a gallon of oil so that they can keep their pockets fat than to charge you $2 and just to get by and live modestly. That ain't how Esau Edom rolls, man. All right? He got to be doing something, wicked, man. All right? He got to be oppressing the poor. It's in his bones. It's in his DNA, man. All right? The Lord didn't set him up to be compassionate. All right? If he ain't oppressing you Israelites, he don't sleep good at night. Here it is. He can drop the price of oil down to $1.50 and allow you to live comfortably. But then he wouldn't be sleeping good at night because why? He got to oppress you. He got to make you feel that squeeze. So the Lord using him to make you feel and to know that this ain't your resting place. The Lord picked the perfect villain, Esau Edom, to remind you damn jakes that this ain't your resting place. All right? Yeah, he could easily, with the amount of oil that he produces here in America, keep the oil prices down to $2 and less. Even in this time right now, 2026. But then he wouldn't be the wicked if he didn't oppress you Israelites. And you ought to be glad that the Lord is using him to oppress you, to wake you up. As it says in Micah 2:10, for arise and depart, for this is not your rest. It will utterly destroy you with a plague, roughly paraphrasing, man. All right? So you ought to take that as a blessing that the Lord is using this damn devil to continue to oppress you, to wake you up and show you that don't get complacent here in Babylon the Great, man. What they say? Don't look a gift horse in the face or something along them lines, man. This is a damn gift right here, man. Esau oppressing us is a gift. All right? It's to keep us wait, to let us know that we ain't supposed to get complacent here in Babylon the Great because it's just temporarily, man. It's just temporarily. All right, we were brought over here to wake up to who we are, repent, turn back to the Lord, get right before that destruction comes. Not to come over here, look for gas prices to be $1.50, rent to go down to $200 or $300. Then we would continue to be wicked, man. Jake would still be wicked. If the Lord was allowing these things to take place, Jake would never repent. Jake would just look to be more wicked, man. So the Lord had to pick, the Lord had to create this damn devil to wake you up. So we got to give Esau a hand, man, for being the wicked, for oppressing the Israelites to the effect that only the elect would see this and repent. Because if Esau was to bring gas down to $1, rent down to $250, Jake would be even wickeder, man. See? So we giving the Lord the hand ultimately, but for choosing Esau, it ain't getting any more wickeder than that. All right? So once everything starts to dry up and Esau can't sell off this oil, you think he gonna send you the discount? No, he's just gonna raise the prices up. And either you buy it or not. He's gonna find a way, some way, shape, or form to get up off all this oil, man. All right? And more than likely, you're gonna buy it from him. See? You the consumer, when these other countries don't want to pay for these barrels of oil and the petrodollar anymore, he's gonna try to get off of it by selling it to you, the consumers. All right? So not to lose track, let's go back to Isaiah 19 and verse 7. The paper reads by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks shall wither, be driven away, and be no more. See, that's exactly what's coming. All right, because these other countries are eventually going to move away from that petrodollar and leave off to go do something digital. And it's the elites that's pushing this move towards the digital currency so they can get off this dollar and be justified in bringing forth that digital currency, which is going to translate to the mark of the beast eventually. All right? So it says, Job 20 and verse 21, there shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. See? It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Here's the point, verse 23. When he is about to fill his belly. So just when he's about to fill his belly, let's see what happens. It says, the Most High shall cast the fury of wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. In the midst of him filling his belly and eating, the Lord is going to rain his fury, his cast upon him, those missiles. All right? And it's going to be a beautiful thing to see the missiles come and destroy this place and get beamed up at the same time. All right? And that's our hope. And this truth that we be delivered out of Babylon the Great, the United States of America. All right? So that's pretty much going to conclude the lesson on when he is about to fill his belly. You know, the Lord is going to come down with that great wrath. So with that being said, we will turn towards the east, towards Jerusalem, and we will give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right? Shalom. Until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.